Sometimes when you're working on a complex text animation, you need a tool to separate the parts of the animation from each other so they don't step on each other's toes. Well, that tool is to use multiple animators. This particular exercise is included in the files for CS6 and for Creative Cloud. However, it's a feature that's been around as long as text animation has. I'm going to open up the comp MU2 animators starter, and I'm going to perform a quick preview. And you see that we have some color change happening on the second word, and we're also using a wiggly selector to randomize the color across those characters. Now, you can play lots of games with this. For example, right now we have a shape of ramp. That's what's causing the colors to change from yellow to red across this word, and that ramp shape is also causing the end characters to be randomized more than the early ones. You could change it to something such as square, and now have the whole word randomizing its color. But the problem with the wiggly selector is that it likes to step on everybody. Let's say we wanted to have these characters also fade up or fly into position. Well, with a wiggly in the mix, we might find our characters fade in and out rather than just fading up. For example, if I was to take the currently existing animator and add to it the property of opacity and decrease that opacity to 0, so we go from off when you're not selected to on when you are selected, you'll see that the individual characters in this word are fading in and out. That's hardly a nice, even fade up so we can read the whole word. So in this case, to do my fade, I'm going to need to put opacity and anything else in a separate animator. Not a separate range selector, but a separate animator to isolate it from this wiggly selector. So I'll delete opacity, twirl up animator 1, go to the top line of text and click animate, not add, but the arrow next to animate, and say in this case, animate opacity, which will create a brand new range selector. I'll change it to animator 2 and change it to fade on to keep it separate from the original animator. And I can use this opacity value to fade up this word. For example, I'm going to start with everything faded off, open up the range selector, and keyframe the start parameter so that originally everyone is in selection, so everyone is faded out. And by, say, 2 seconds, everyone has been faded back up again. A nice type-on animation. Let's preview that. Now you see we have our type-on animation separate from the color change and the wiggly selector animating the color of the characters in that last word. I can add other parameters if I want to, such as add. Note that I'm using animator 2, not animator 1. Scale. Also have fun scaling that up over time. And let me get in the middle of this animation so I can see what this looks like. Decide how big I want these characters to be, maybe about 300% or so. And as we learned earlier in this course, we need to play around with the grouping alignment to center that particular zoom up. So I'll scroll down more options and play with my grouping alignment to center it right around here so that my characters seem to zoom down from a centered position into place. Now, when I do edit path options or more options, these are universal to the entire line of text. They're not targeted to an individual animator. However, since grouping alignment has no effect on color, I don't need to worry about it messing with animator 1. If you need to, you can indeed animate a separate anchor point property. So here's our animation, slamming down into position while they fade up, and a separately animated final word with a wiggly selector on its color. Divide and conquer is the rule when you need to create complex animations inside After Effects.